Good morning and welcome to today's coffee vlog on Friday, May the 1st. Yet another month has been dispatched, and looking at the sky, you'd think summer is well on its way to us. Although it's actually been quite a misleading week, because it's been absolutely freezing. God. I mean, even now it's 4 degrees, and it's not really been warming up that much. And I don't even think we've got to double figures this week. Certainly not round our way, anyway. So, yeah, it's not exactly getting to scorcher weather yet, but sun's better than rain and grey clouds, so I won't argue. And to be perfectly honest, it's been one hell of a week this week. Everything's seemed to have piled on at once. Work's been really busy. It's of course the financial year ends. So yesterday, the 30th of April, was the last day of the financial year. Got stock take to do this morning before we can ship any orders back out again, which is going to be fun, because there's lots to count, lots and lots, and not a lot of it tends to be right either, which is, as far as the computer goes, it all tends to be little errors where stuff gets put in the wrong product as it's coming in, so you get too much of one and not enough of another. All little bits and pieces like that. So yeah, that's not going to be greatly fun. So got that to look forward to this morning. Also trying to sort out, well, it's related to work. There's been a bit of a water leak at the far side of our work, which appears to be coming out of a wall that's attached to our building wall. It's complicated, this, but and the actual leak, the water coming out, is coming out probably 10 foot below our floor level, because the building's on a slope. So if you imagine that the front door of our building's at the top of the slope, and the door, you know, the floor from there goes straight across, but of course because the slope goes down, the back end of the building drops considerably. No idea what's below us, because it's all concrete in our building floor. It's all been concreted, so if there was any works, because I mean it's a very, very old building, I think it dates back to 1800s or something, the actual big old shed we're in. So if there used to be something below there that isn't there now, I don't know. And but whatever's happening, there's this leak coming out the wall at the bottom of our building that got fixed 3 years ago. The Yorkshire Water guy came out, found there was like a copper pipe sticking out of an area of that wall for whatever reason. There was kind of like a bit like a doorway or a window frame in the brick wall that's attached to our building wall. It kind of gave the impression, I think it was more of a doorway than window, the impression there might have been something in the void underneath us. Some sort of works there, like a little, could have been like a small warehouse thing underneath, or storage area. And anyway, this water pipe was sticking out of it and it leaked, and he resolved it, he managed to cap it off. Been fine for 3 years. Happens that the people who are doing the work at the back, because there used to be, of course, be an entire building fixed along there, decided to brick up this doorway thing to make the wall all complete. And then mysteriously after that, a leak started appearing through the brickwork they'd done. And I suspect that that pipe might have been in the way, and someone decided that rather than brick round it or change the brick to fit where the pipe was sticking out, he decided to get rid of the pipe, and then it leaked, so he just finished bricking it up and hoping no one had noticed. because it doesn't work, because it's going to leak eventually. So the problem for us being, when Yorkshire Water turn off our water feed from the main into the building at the top end where our door entrance is, but in the road obviously, that leak stops. If you turn off our internal water, so where our water meter is, you turn that off, it doesn't. So it's not actually part of our internal supply, but it's part of the supply that feeds us somehow. It's fed off that supply. So 2 weeks we've been trying to puzzle out how to resolve that, because Yorkshire Water won't do anything because it's under our building. So it's technically our problem, even though it feeds off their supply. And they're losing water, and we're not paying for it because it's not on our meter. So we've been puzzling about all sorts of ways of tracing pipes to maybe find out how to cut it off at the top end of ours or whatever. And mysteriously last night, while I was not getting much sleep, I went to sleep a bit, then woke up and then did the usual thing I do of not being able to get back to sleep and just laid in bed thinking instead. I think I might have a solution to it in the end, without people digging things up and looking for pipes. So I'm going to investigate that this morning as well. So that's been, work, busy, shipping loads of stuff out as well, just prior to the year end, and then I'm going to have to get all the accounts done as well. Other than that, of course, it's been the first week for people with their Apple Watches, and yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster really, if they have. It's been interesting to see what's been happening. Generally, I think people seem to be getting the day's life out of them, getting up in the morning, going to bed, and they've still got charge. Still needs charging at night, but it's not running out completely. So it does seem to be doing okay. It's always a bit hard to tell first week of a device, because of course, whenever you get your shiny new toy, and it's the same with the iPhones, get a new iPhone, get it first few days, battery life's no good on these iPhones, and it's like the new one's supposed to be better. Well, of course, the thing is, you get it, the first thing you want to do is mess about with it because it's new. So you're installing new apps and playing games to see what the new processor speed's like, and using it on the internet and setting things up and changing things about on it and whatever else. Of course, the battery life is never that good when you first get anything because you're always messing with it. I'm quite sure it's the same with the watch. Of course, it's even more tempting because it's more accessible on your wrist to keep lifting it up to view the time, even when you wouldn't normally be just doing it because you're admiring your new shiny toy. And of course, that's going to increase battery drain because it's always bringing up this display, and of course changing settings on it. And one of the one of the big sort of rumours of the internet's been that there's been widespread discussions on sort of the Apple forums about a decrease in the iPhone battery life because of the Apple Watch, which you'd expect it to be the opposite, because you would think with having the watch now you're not checking your phone as much because the notifications are on your wrist instead of having to pull the phone out and bring up its display and whatever. So that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it looks like in some cases the Apple Watch app itself goes rogue for whatever reason, and apart from changing settings, you don't need it to be running in the background for the watch to get notifications and do what it needs to do. So you can actually kill manually the watch app in the multitasking, and apparently this fixes all those problems if you have them. It's only a minority of cases, I think. So there was that side of it as well. Of course, we've had every possible combination of things ending in gate battered about the internet. Of course, Watchgate about the fact that people haven't received them who were supposed to be receiving them. I think slowly this week they've been dribbling back out to people, and some people still haven't got any. Battery gate, obviously, because of battery life on both iPhone and the watch battery as well, whether it's lasting up to it. Scratch gate on the stainless steel ones, because people have started noticing the stainless steel ones are getting scratches on the sides of the stainless steel body. But well, there you go. I suppose it's the thing about a watch, it's on your wrist, it's going to get impacted with stuff at some point. Well, I certainly know mine is, because I'm pretty haphazard about where I throw my wrists about. And also scratches on the glass itself as well. I think I've only really seen mention of it on the sport models, because obviously the main Apple Watch, I forget what they call it now actually, is Apple Watch. But the stainless steel bodied ones have the we're supposed to have this sapphire crystal display, which is supposed to be more scratch resistant, but not necessarily as hard wearing as you'd find the sort of display, which I think is like the standard iPhone grade glass on the sports. And I'm sure I've seen a couple of cases where they've said on average the sports glass performs better overall than the stainless steel one. So and again, you've got to question if it's really worth paying pretty much double the money for the stainless steel ones compared to the sports. But there you are. I mean, that's a different question entirely. So, yep, Apple Watch week. Been interesting so far. I'm just keeping an eye on how everyone's getting on. Kind of interesting to know if anyone can eke out a 24-hour charge cycle. Well, probably about 22-hour in theory, but you know, if you could get away with pretty much wearing it overnight as well, but just get your 2-hour charge in somewhere during that point. You probably have a running trim on different things that are always going to be killing the battery. But it'll be interesting. The other thing is, I think a lot of people are sort of saying they're going to bed around 30–40% charge left, and I don't know. I mean, bearing on most devices that I've used, the last portion of battery seems to take much longer to disappear than you know, the start from 100% down. And in fact, you know, a lot of times with iPhones, I found, you know, you get to like 5%, and you're like, oh, I've only got 5% left, and that lasts forever. Literally, it lasts the longest time possible. And even when you get like 1%, it's going to die soon. It's going to die, and then it never wants to. So you do actually wonder if you've done a large portion of your day already and got to 38–40%, if it would keep going overnight, and probably overnight you're going to get less notifications, especially if you've got Do Not Disturb on as well, to maybe get you through 10–15% in the morning. And of course the question is then, do you have your 2-hour charge when you get up, or you're going to configure it out at some point during the day? Do you do it when you get in to start the night with a full charge? Oof. Small decision. You can probably see I've got this little brain working away at ways of making the Apple Watch work for me. Just, you know, something to do, bit of a hobby. Apple Watch working for me hobby. So yeah, we'll probably get off the Apple Watch now because you're probably bored of it. But there you are, that's been that week. Other things, new iOS 8.4 Beta 2 was released this week. Not really noticed much. I think, looking at the music app, the iTunes radio that had come into the app when I last looked has mysteriously vanished again. So it was in there in Beta 1, and Beta 2 it disappeared again. Battery life's been fine. actually quite impressively good for the most part. Not really. I don't know. Beta 1 certainly didn't resolve my issues with the music app. Beta 2 so far seems to be a bit more robust, so I don't know if they have done some little back-end tweaks with that. But it's always hard to tell. I'll have to do some more testing and see what it's like with different situations of playing music, because what I find it tends to do is if I set a playlist off, generally, and this is what will always work fine anyway, set a playlist off, goes through it, when it runs out of songs in that playlist, kind of stops for a bit, has a think, and then it starts playing randomly anything in my entire matched library. So and that seemed to work pretty smoothly this time. Also had the latest build of 10.10.4 beta. Can't say I noticed a great deal going on with that. The only thing I have noticed, which is a bit annoying, and I don't know if it's exclusive to the beta builds or Yosemite or what, but Security D sometimes seems to be going on a bit of a processor hogging mission, taking like 100 to 120%, and mysteriously obviously causing temperature increases and whatever else, but I can't bother out what it is that's actually causing it. I'm not sure. It seems to be, I think it's some sort of login for mail or some other login that isn't getting logged in, and constantly trying to do it instead. It keeps coming up with a Google account login request. I'm not sure that's part of it. Hard reboot resolves it anyway, so if you are stuck, just give it a go. Obviously, I mean, for a lot of people, you perhaps wouldn't know why suddenly everything's going super hot, because you just don't think to look at what the processors are. I've got iStack menus, so I just drop down from the processor bar chart, and it just tells me straight away what's using the most resources. So, but yeah, if you get any sort of high temperatures and no logical reason why you can see why, just a hard reboot pretty much resolves it. Alright, well, it's bank holiday weekend, so we're going to get an extra day off as well, which means even more work next week, because I've got a day less to do the work in, and I don't get all the work done anyway. So enjoy your bank holiday weekend. Hope you're going to have a nice relaxing one, or do something nice, go somewhere. Not entirely sure what I've got planned, to be honest, but we shall see what happens. Okay, have a good weekend.